In any spiritual community, you've probably met that one person. The one who's incredibly capable, speaks beautifully, knows all the scriptures, and they always have an answer for everything. But when you're around them, it doesn't quite feel like inspiration, does it? It feels more like pressure. There's this little edge of arrogance that makes all their talent feel kind of heavy. And if we're being really honest with ourselves, sometimes that person is us. And that, right there, is one of the most subtle and dangerous traps on the entire spiritual path.
It really all boils down to that one question, doesn't it? And this isn't a new problem by any means. The great sage Confucius had something to say about this thousands of years ago. He said, "Even if someone has talent as great as the Duke of Zhou, if they are arrogant and stingy, the rest is not worth looking at." Wow, that single warning just cuts right to the heart of what we're going to explore together today. What happens when our greatest strengths become our biggest weaknesses?
Hello, senior disciples, and welcome. This is our third explainer on the 5 disciplines of life from the compassionate teachings of Qigong Living Buddha. In our first 2 sessions, we talked about the danger of just going through the motions, and then we covered the trap of being all talk and no action. But today, we're going even deeper, and it's something that's way more tricky. This isn't about lacking ability. This is about what happens when you actually have plenty of ability, but your heart isn't quite in the right place. It's the danger of thinking you're doing just fine.
All right, so here's our roadmap for this deep dive. First, we'll look at the talent trap and how our capabilities can actually become a stumbling block. Then we'll ask the big question, is talent a gift or a curse? From there, we'll examine 8 crucial warnings directly from our teacher. We're also going to test ourselves with 3 very sharp why questions, unpack the huge difference between true merit and personal gain, and finally, we'll wrap up by discovering the true purpose of the talents we've been given.
So our teacher starts by painting this really vivid picture. I want you to imagine this scene. You see someone in your community who's a little bit slower. Maybe they're struggling to learn something, or they keep making the same mistakes over and over. What is the very first reaction that pops up in your heart? Is it compassion? Or is it a quiet little internal laugh, a sense of ridicule? Do you find yourself watching them stumble, almost as if it's a joke? Be honest, have you ever witnessed this? Or maybe even felt that little flicker of superiority in your own mind? Well, that right there, that is the talent trap.
And this brings us to the core warning for this entire chapter. Talent without virtue easily invites darkness. Now, let's be super clear about this. Talent itself is not the problem. Not at all. Having skills and abilities is a gift. The problem is the heart that comes along with it. When talent gets paired with arrogance, it becomes like a magnet for all kinds of negativity. It's exactly why Confucius was so blunt. He basically said, it doesn't matter how gifted you are, if you're arrogant, selfish, and small-minded, then nothing else matters. The rest isn't even worth a second look, because the very foundation of your being, your virtue, is already shaky.
So if talent can be such a dangerous trap, what's the way out? How do we make sure that our gifts become a blessing for the world and not a curse on our own spiritual journey? Well, the answer lies in one single lifelong practice that our teacher says is the absolute key. It's the practice of cultivating virtue, or what's called in Chinese, pei dai, pei dai.
And just listen to that phrasing for a second. The second life of a practitioner. Think about what that means. This isn't just a suggestion or a side project we work on when we feel like it. The teaching is telling us that from the moment we start on this path, cultivating our inner goodness becomes our primary, full-time, nonstop job. It's the solid ground. It's the foundation we have to build first. Only then can the skyscraper of our talent be built on top of it without crumbling. Without that foundation, any talent, no matter how brilliant, is just a disaster waiting to happen.
And to really hammer this point home, to make sure we understand just how serious this is, Qigong Living Buddha gives us 8 pretty heavy warnings. These aren't just gentle reminders, they are stark, clear descriptions of what happens when we neglect our virtue and just focus on our abilities. So let's go through them one by one.
Just feel the cumulative weight of these warnings as we go. Without cultivating virtue, the Tao's honor is hard to express, because the Tao is shown through our actions, not just our fancy words. Great responsibility is hard to bear, because without that moral foundation, any leadership role will eventually fall apart. Our destiny is hard to change,
because virtue is the actual root of our destiny. Our character is hard to transform, because true change comes from the heart, not from memorizing books. The Dharma wheel, that's the work of spreading the truth. It becomes heavy in a struggle to turn. Ascending to sacred realms becomes hard, and ultimately returning to our heavenly home becomes difficult. And then there's the last one, the most chilling of all. Without cultivating virtue, you simply sink with your karma. Period. There's no way around it.
Then, our teacher brings this all down from the clouds and right into our messy everyday lives. He uses a very down-to-earth Taiwanese term. He says, when something happens, our kiboa goes bad. So what's kiboa? It's just your mood, your vibe, your state of mind, that immediate gut feeling you get. And our teacher is asking this really simple question. We all talk about finding the Tao in daily life, right? So why is it that the very moment something unexpected happens, our kiboa goes bad? Our peace is just gone, our clarity evaporates, and suddenly our thoughts, words, and actions are nowhere near the Tao.
So to help us figure out where this inner instability is coming from, we're given 3 incredibly sharp questions. These aren't just for us to think about casually. They're meant to be a mirror. They're a test of how deep our cultivation actually goes.
I mean, really think about this for a second. Someone says one little thing to you. Maybe it's critical, or maybe you just take it the wrong way. And boom, your entire inner world just collapses. You're devastated, you're angry, you're completely thrown off balance for the rest of the day. Why? If our practice was truly solid, would a few words really have that much power over us? It kind of shows us that our inner peace is maybe a lot more fragile than we'd like to admit. Okay, let's take it a step further. This time it's not just a sentence, it's an event. Something doesn't go your way at the temple, someone lets you down, a project you worked on fails. And just like that, our faith starts to wobble. We start doubting the whole path, feeling resentment towards others, maybe even towards heaven. Why can one single incident shatter our resolve like that? It suggests that maybe our faith is a bit conditional. It's strong when things are going well, but it's not that deep, unshakable conviction we thought it was.
And this last one, this is the most powerful one of all. Because this time, it's not even something external. It's just one thought. One single thought that pops into our own mind. A thought of jealousy or pride or judgment. And in that one instant, we can twist all of reality to fit our ego. We dig in our heels, we refuse to listen, and we start confusing what is actually right with what we want to be right. This proves that the real battlefield isn't out there with other people. It's right here, inside our own heads.
So what's the real reason for this fragility that these 3 questions expose? Well, it's our default reaction to immediately find an excuse and point the finger at someone else. Our mind just starts racing. It's all someone else's fault. It's their problem. It was their irresponsibility. They were being nosy. It's because of the senior disciples. It's because of the temple. See how it's a total disconnection from our own part in it? And our teacher's diagnosis here is just razor sharp. He says, refusing to examine yourself, just criticizing and feeling dejected, that too is a form of arrogance and foolishness. So, in that moment of reaction, when our kiboa goes bad, we're standing at a crossroads. In that split second, what comes out first? Is it our wisdom, our Tao heart, or is it our emotions, our ego, and our need to protect our image? One of those paths follows the Tao, the other follows our karma. And the difference between them can be decided in a single thought, which our teacher explains with a brilliant play on words.
Now listen closely, because this is fascinating. In Chinese, these 2 phrases sound almost identical, Xing Gong Li De, but they're written with different characters and mean the complete opposite. The first one, the true path, means earning merit and building virtue. That's serving with a pure heart, focusing on our own growth. The second one, the path of the ego, means attacking others for personal gain. This is using the temple as a stage to go after people's weaknesses, to gossip, or maybe more subtly, just doing things to get a little praise, a nice title, or some validation from others. And here's the bottom line. If our real motivation is that second path,
the one of attacking others for personal gain, then Jigong Living Buddha gives us this absolutely devastating warning. A lifetime spent in the temple that way ends in painful effort with no real result. Just let that sink in. An entire lifetime of work, of service, of showing up, that in the end amounts to nothing. It's one of the most sobering warnings in this entire teaching.
But okay, after all of these heavy warnings, our teacher doesn't just leave us in despair. He reminds us of who we really are and what our true purpose is. He looks at every single one of us and says, with so much affirmation, every one of you is a guardian of the Tao. This isn't about getting rid of our talent. It's about re-aiming it toward its true, noble purpose.
So how do we do it? The solution is to place our talent firmly on that solid foundation of virtue. We use our abilities to earn real merit and to build good connections, which naturally makes the pull of our negative karma weaker. We make a conscious effort to align our thoughts, our words, and our actions so we can resolve our karmic debts. The whole goal is to transform our talent from a tool we use for self-promotion into a humble instrument we use to serve everyone. True cultivation isn't about hiding your talent. It's about grounding it in so much humility that it becomes a true asset for the Tao.
And so we end right back where we started, with this fundamental question. Every skill you have, every ability, every spark of intelligence, it's a gift from heaven. It was given to you. The only real choice that matters is what you do with it. Are you going to use it as a spotlight to shine on yourself and prove how great you are? Or are you going to use it as a lantern to light the path and help lift up everyone around you? The answer to that question really defines our entire spiritual journey. Gratitude for the grace of heaven and the virtue of our teachers. Thank you so much for joining me for this Explain Our Senior Disciples. Until next time.